Welcome back to Who the Fuck Are These Guys? How are you, Mako Shark?
I'm good, Matty. I'm good.
good?
Feels good to be back.
Oh,
Been a few weeks.
it has. I get sad when we don't get to see Coco and then and the team here with a big
I
team.
love sitting on these chairs.
Right.
The lighting.
You're in a big train shirt.
A big choo-choo train. We're going to get into the choo-choo. Don't worry about that.
Fuck
But, mate,
10. Just get off that straight off the bat.
engage. Your best in the business. Fuck 10,
I've
just
got
off the
one too.
top.
My one.
Check out the new Izzy shirt. Absolute belter.
We've come back together, me and Izzy.
It's a love affair now. Fuck 10% off all your orders. Just put it in, mate. Beautiful, beautiful. They've got a lot of bangers coming out too. But Matthew.
Banger of an episode. Great. Good by you.
UFC 312 was, it's a week ago now, but we haven't had a chance to really digress and talk about it. So we're going to get right into that this ep. It's going to be humongous.
It's and with a big guest that had one of the great performances against a really tough man coming up, Mako Shark. And we have we've now the cat's out of the bag. If you're in Sydney, cat is out of the bag, 40 foot.
Get a zoom in.
Major sponsor.
Beautiful
Mako
liquid,
Shark.
mate. Beautiful liquid.
How good was the, just before we get into the guests in the episode, how good was the live pod and the amount of orange 40-foot cans that we saw?
Sea of orange.
A sea of orange, a great episode, a great time, Mako Shark. Lots of new followers, so thanks. Because we got a lot of love. We were walking down the bit.
Mate, we actually I'm not going to be humble here. We fucking killed it, that live show, I tell you.
We haven't told Coco.
Hottest show of the whole
of people
weekend.
stopping us from the locker room to the stadium wanting photos. We
felt almost get into two hands if you counted them all up. Huge.
I needed some stilts from my neck because it was wobbling. I was that happy with myself. I needed I needed things to keep the
neck
head.
muscles in strife.
Oh, they were in big strife, Mako Shark.
Wobble.
Tell you what's not in big strife. It's this podcast. It's this studio. It's this everything, Mako. Who have we got coming up tonight? Because
Should we get into it?
fuck oath. We always do this. We go too long, and I'm sure everyone goes, shut these idiots up.
Can you edit a few choo-choo noises in there, Coco, you reckon? Stopping, no, not even stopping all stations, just express.
Talking about
To the
stopping all
belt.
stations. Coco's love life. He's off the market, ladies and men out there.
Our
So
man
that's
Coco
a
has been
shame.
rooting, so that's exciting.
We'll expect a invite to the Bucks and wedding in a couple of years, Mako.
The Bucks would be huge.
Okay,
Yeah.
get us into it.
Haven't got many blokes left, to get
I got no one.
Bucks and that. Well, we're running out. We're getting old, so we need you, Coco. Big Train.
Big Train.
Tommy Nolan. Probably one of the most impressive performances on the night for mine.
I thought so.
His best performance by far in his career. It was beautiful. Cannot wait to talk to him about it. Up against a very dangerous man in Slava Claus. But no, it was
great nicknames. We love great nicknames too.
We love him. I wanted one for Tommy Nolan, but he's already got Big Train. We'll talk about it when we speak to him. He doesn't really need us to give him.
No, but maybe we could ask him if there was anything else that was ever talked about.
I can oath we will.
There must have been some B-sides to that
Gotta be.
nickname game.
Has to be. Has to be something that was a bit shit and then Big Train come over the top.
I want to ask him, Mako Shark, and I'm going to ask him because remember a year prior in Sydney, his name was mentioned in the post-fight press conference to Dana White. He didn't even know who he was. Who?
Oh, that was the year before he got in.
Yeah. What'd you say?
Who's
Who?
that guy?
Now he's there beating a fucking tough opponent, having one of the performances of the night,
Yeah.
and now he knows.
Shriek.
So it's like a year in this game is incredible, right?
A lot can happen.
I'd love to know what he thought about that because he would have watched that back going, he doesn't know it. But now he's here smacking people's fucking clauses off, Mako
That's it,
Shark.
mate. We might as well get straight into it, I reckon.
Please do.
Our man, Big Train, Tommy Nolan.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Alrighty, who the fuckers. We are very excited, Matthew, to get this man on the pod finally. We've got a lot of friends of the pod
Yes.
in the UFC, and this is one man we've had for quite a while, and we're going to talk about it. We've tried to have him on many, many times. Schedules haven't quite worked. But what better time to do it than now after his win at UFC 312? Yeah, man, it's choo-choo. It's Big Train, Tom Nolan. How are you, brother?
Yeah, good, bro. Thanks for having me on, boys.
We are pumped, Mako Shark. And before we get into the serious stuff, we're big on, I'm sure he'd know because he'd watch and listen to the pod.
watches, yeah.
We love a nickname here. Now, it's a great nickname, the Big Train. We were chatting before, and I apologise for coming at you with a weird one straight off the bat, but was there any other nicknames that were even in the picture, or was Big Train been there for a while? Or should I have done my research a little bit more here?
Big Train's been around since I was a young fella, so I started training at 14, but I think I got it from the PlayStation game when I was probably 12 years old, maybe.
It's a good place
On the
to go.
UFC. Yeah, UFC, yeah. And my mate started calling me it, and then when I had my first fight, it just stuck. It's just who I was, so that's
Perfect.
what it's always been.
Because we normally like to give blokes nicknames on this pod, but sometimes is one we don't need to really improve on. So we just stick with Big
It's a
Train.
ripper.
Yeah.
We just do a bit of this and away we go.
Yeah.
Must be feeling good as well, mate, because we in this episode we spoke about how like there's the guys like Colby and that start and come in and get their first fight in front of a crowd like that. Yourself coming out fighting against a guy, as you said, who's pretty frightening and fuck, he's a tough bastard. To go in and a packed stadium and put on a performance like that and show so much toughness, show so much different skill set and come out the other side with a win against a really good opponent. You must feel incredible.
Yeah, man, I feel amazing. It's it almost feels unreal. Like, you know, obviously I believe in myself, but to have done it the way I did, it's like, you know, my potential is probably even bigger than what I believe. So I'm excited to just keep expanding on it and keep growing and keep proving to myself how good I am.
100%, man, because I reckon you're a very talented man. You've had a few fights in the UFC, but probably people just had you pegged as like a knockout artist, dude that goes out there and throws bombs. But like you went out there, in my opinion, by far your best performance. Went out there, showed a pretty well-rounded skill set. I reckon surprised a lot of people, to be honest. How good did it feel to go out there and probably show the levels that you're now getting to?
Yeah, for sure, man. You know, I've been grappling longer than I've been striking, like I said. I think they mentioned it in the commentary, but that's actually what I started in. I started in jiu-jitsu and then like a hybrid wrestling for MMA. And then I learned to strike, you know, a few years into my grappling career. So I've always had that up the sleeve. I understand the reason I'm in the UFC so early is because of my knockout style and the way I strike. So I use that to my advantage. I understand that that's what the fans want to see, the UFC want to see. But when it comes to fighting a guy like Borshev, you got to mix it up. I think I fell into that mistake maybe a little bit earlier in my career with my loss. I think maybe if I had to mix it up with Motor the way I did with Borshev, it would have looked different. Well, obviously, can't do anything about that. But good lesson there for me. I'm not just a striker. I am a mixed martial artist. Even though that is what got me to the dance, now it's time to really show the levels. I didn't really get to show everything I wanted to in that fight. I knew Borshev was going to have good grappling defense. It seems to be all he trains. Mm-hmm. So the game plan, I knew that he was going to get up. It was just about making him tired getting up.
Yep. You mentioned that loss against Motor in the debut because obviously you come off the Dana White Contender Series, huge knockout early, all the big raps on your power. And then as you said, maybe you got a little bit sucked in thinking that's what I got to keep doing. That's what's got me to the dance. So I'm going to go out there and try and knock his head off. Yeah, you got caught a little 100%. Bit, but hate always saying it's good to have a loss, but yeah, you probably would have learnt heaps from that and never make those mistakes now.
Yeah, man, for sure. I learned so much from that. You know, I think a lot that played into that also was the way I was doing my weight cut. You know, I was essentially just starving myself down to 70. So like for my entire pro career, I have spent outside of this fight, 0 minutes sweating to make weight. So like it was just diet.
Right. Oh, doesn't sound the right way.
I originally thought was an advantage. I thought, well, these guys are dehydrating and I'm not. So like, but now after a bit of research, I realized, man, it takes way longer to recover from starvation than it does from dehydration. So this last one, I sweat like maybe 1.5 kilos and can eat a shot from a world champion kickboxer. You know, like he landed some bombs on me and I felt fine. Like at no point was I hurt. Whereas obviously Motor hits hard as like he hits hard as fuck. But I truly believe I could have eaten those shots better if I had done the weight cut better. So that's one lesson I took. And yeah, like I just said, mixing it up. Like with Motor, he knew that I was just going to strike. So therefore the threat of the takedown isn't a worry. Whereas if I had to just touch the legs, now the whole thing changes. So yeah, moving forward with my fights, I plan on just mixing it up, using all my skills and just beating everyone everywhere.
I like that weight cutting, even though it's ridiculous and we think it's one of the most dangerous aspects of the sport, you can't get away from it. So to do it properly is probably one of the most important things you can do as an athlete. So it is a science. So just to be starving yourself doesn't sound like the right thing. So now that you've probably figured that out, get the right team around you, it's going to be a massive help.
Yeah, man, it was more a case of I'm a perfectionist. I live and breathe MMA. So I'm like, well, let's see how low I can get with the diet, you know, before going into the cut. And then I just end up being like 72 kilos by the time fight week rolls around. And I end up being on weight the day before weigh-ins. And it's like,
it shouldn't be.
In my mind, I'm like, oh, well, that's perfection. But really it's not. It's overkill. It's overboard. So I've learned I've got to have a mix between the perfectionist of me and the cowboy side of me, where it's like sometimes you just got to step out and scrap. It's the same with all of it, you know. Like I don't need to come in so malnourished.
Not at all. I think perfectionism is being at weight the least amount of time as possible, to be honest.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
As you know, we're not journalists or looking for clickbait or shot bait, all this shit, but I want to actually talk to you because I think what you've been able to do after coming in and you know, having such a great performance and then coming in and having a loss for your first fight and then having 3 wins. I want to talk to you about the mental side, right? Because not everyone would be able to have bounced back the way you have. And, you know, no one's even, except for me asking you this, no one's even thinking about that loss you had. But for you, I want to be put in your shoes on how that felt in that moment, in having that loss. And then if it was yourself or your team or a combination of both that got you back, you know, back up, motivated to where you are now. Because a lot of other people fall off that cliff, right? And some of the most talented fighters we might not have ever seen because they have an early loss and it gets them down. How were you able to have had that? It sort of come out of nowhere in a sense of, if you read all the hype and everyone was expecting you to win, and then to be, you know, now to have bounced back and be where you are today. Like, it takes a bit, I reckon, mentally.
Yeah, for sure. You know, a big part of that was my coach just believing in me. He said, Steve-O said to me, like, we got to get straight back in there. Like, you just got caught. We got to get you a win straight away. So no time to sort of sit around and sulk. It was essentially straight back into camp. And then I got that first round finish. So then I was like, oh, sweet, all good. Like, we're back on, you know, my first UFC win. The pressure's off, you know. Going into that fight as well, there was a lot of pressure, like the betting and the way, like you said, all the hype, the way people were talking. I try not to look at any of that stuff anyway, but like it's hard. Like you still do hear it here and there. I feel like now I've got the mental tools where it doesn't bother me one bit. But like, not gonna lie, it was pretty full on. I remember hearing people talking about me like, "Oh, this will be over in 10 seconds or 20 seconds." And I'm thinking,
you put this pressure on yourself.
Like now I have to do that. If I don't do that, then people are going to think I suck, you know. And then you go out there, old mate's feeling the other side. He's got no pressure because, like, he's expected to lose. So he comes out swinging absolute hammers, and I'm not expecting that. I watched his last fight before our fight, and same thing again, threat of the takedown. He got outstruck by a grappler because he was so worried about the takedown. With me, he wasn't. He was like, oh, let's just swing hammers, and one of us is going to go down.
That's why MMA math never works, does it? Because he said in his mind, people don't, just on paper, you don't realize that he's thinking about the takedown threat, so he's not throwing his strikes, but against you, he's not thinking about that. So MMA math out the window. Yeah,
for sure.
And you mentioned obviously that you started as a grappler and took the striking up later in your training. But look, we do pump up friends of the pod, and he's a friend of the pod now, Mako Shark. But to me, it looks like your striking is something that you're naturally very good at, and you have a good read and you have a good range. Is that something that when you did it, because you can see guys that are naturally good strikers and guys that are just doing it to get to their other skills. But for me, it feels like you're just as damaging, obviously, from what's happened in your career leading up to it. But did you take to that skill like very naturally? Because it looks like you did.
Yeah, man, for sure. I've my frame and my build for fighting, especially at my weight class, is
crazy.
Awesome for chokes and for defensive wrestling and obviously long range striking. I think my frame, it's harder to be a mad offensive grappler in my weight class. It's still doable, but it's harder because of how tall I am. Whereas the striking is, I mean, as you saw from the kicking display on the weekend, that was just one of my main weapons. With the range and my ability of like my dexterity and the way I'm built, it's like, I don't know, I'm almost disproportionate. I have bends in different spots and I can hit things from different angles. So yeah, striking, I picked it up really naturally, and I guess it hits that part of my brain, that creative part. Like I just love trying new things and trying to almost invent like a specific move that fits for me, And
speaking of which, we could have almost seen the greatest knockout in the history of the UFC. That grounded, I don't even know what you'd fucking call that.
Fucking up ninja kick.
In your head, you must have thought, if I could knock this guy out with this will be on the replay.
Tell us about the Spider-Man kick.
The Spider-Man kick was unbelievable.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Me and Elliot, we will do that stuff to each other in the gym all the time, like as a joke. Like obviously we don't land it. So when I was there, as I went to sit up, I felt my hand positioning. I like kind of recognized the position. I was
I've done this.
I've been here before in the gym, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to send this and let's see what happens. And it landed so clean. And I was like, oh, that was mad. I didn't think it would blow up the way it did. You know, it's got like 16 or 17 million views on
it was
TikTok.
huge.
People love it, which is cool. But I didn't expect that. If I had slumped him, that would have been crazy.
Would have been like the Joaquin
unreal.
Buckley spinning kick out that knockout he did. It would have been similar level.
Yeah.
He was just too tough, bro. Like I hit that guy with some big shots, big step-in elbows, big left hands. Some of those knees missed, but some of them landed clean. There's a couple you can't quite see on the replay. Like I watched it back this morning. You can't quite see it, but I remember his chin digging into my knee thinking like, oh man, he's going to sleep. And I stop and I look and he's still standing there. I'm like, fuck, this is crazy.
How fucked up is it though? Because we're not fighters. We just love it. But when you start fucking landing bombs like that and the guy's almost smiling and continually walk, that must be fucking weirdly, not scary, but it must be off-putting at times, right? You're not scared because you're in there with them, but like you land a really good one and you think that would murder most humans and then they just grin and keep walking. You're like, what do I have to do?
Well, with my second pro fight when I fought Trevor Sinclair, I like put 12 stitches across his face, dropped him, like hit him with everything I had. And then by the third round, he's calling me on and I had hit him with literally everything. I was
and
like,
you've got nothing left, yeah.
I was thinking to myself, man, like, this is crazy. He's like absorbing my energy. Like when I'm hitting him, it's like I'm giving him my energy. I was getting tired and he was just telling me, he's like, come on. I was like, this is fucked. So I've kind of learned from that one where I'm like, all right, this can happen. So I didn't really feel it as much this time.
Because it would. Like, if you did let it get to you, you would be like, man, it would be, what's the word? Like, disconcerting. Like, fuck. I've hit with bombs in the first round, so how am I going to beat you now in the third round with him? Like, it's just fucking mental.
Yeah, man. Borshev was tough too. Like, some of his footage in his previous fights, he's been hurt a couple of times by southpaws. So that was an advantage I had going into the fight. But tell you what, he took a shot better than I was expecting.
Got that, like, what is he? I think he's Russian. He took that Eastern European just half.
Yeah, he's Russian. Like, his name's not actually Slava. It's like Vicious Slav or something like that.
It's got like 85 different letters in it.
Yeah,
he's a sicko, man. And like, I want to talk a little bit about it. You mentioned it, obviously, in the cage after your win. He talked about, like, you're not scared because you're in there, but there is a part of you that you're a human being at the end of the day. You talked about it. As soon as you sign that fight, it's like, holy shit, you get this nerves. Like, yeah, it is a bit of fear. You're fighting a really, really tough bastard, and now you have to get in there and prove it to the world. Like, take us through that mentality of being nervous and, like, these nerves almost helping you improve, I reckon, in the gym every day because you have to.
Yeah, well, you know, coming off that loss, it's like, man, if I'm going to lose to this guy, it's going to be a knockout because, like, that's his skill. He's not grappling anyone. It's like that in itself was quite scary. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to lose like that. I don't want to lose to this guy because he ain't going to, you know, with Motor is a knockdown and then, you know, he finished the fight and I was still aware and conscious the whole time. Like, I remember the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think with Borshev, it's like you're getting your lights turned off if you lose to him.
Waking up,
if you get knocked out.
Happened? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I've never experienced that, so I was like, oh, I don't want to feel that. So that was the first thought. I was thinking, fuck, surely they could have given me a grappler. But then I went in with my coaches. We sat down and had brekkie and watched the fight. And to be honest, the boys actually called it. Like, Elliot watched the fight and said to me, man, I think this will be your best performance so far. I think this guy has the perfect style for you. Yep. You know, that last guy I fought kind of ran away from me a lot, which made it hard for me to pull the trigger and get anything off. He said, this guy will be the opposite. He said, he will give you absolutely everything you need. And Steve-O was fully confident. He was like, man, because I was talking about, like, I want to grapple and I want to choke this guy out. And, you know, he was like, if you want, but, like, I don't think you need to. He's like, man, I think you could knock this guy out. Like, it's like, I'm not worried one bit. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. Like, if you ask me at the start of the camp, I'm thinking, no chance, fuck that. I'm not standing with that guy. You asked me the day before the fight, like, I'd probably be like, fuck that. I'm not standing with that guy, you know? But then on fight night, the training just came out. It just felt like I was almost possessed, you know? I just was watching myself from a screen almost. And like Coach said to me, he said, take whatever's in front of you. Don't force the grapple. Don't force the striking. Just take what's in front. Like, take it moment by moment. And it ended up being more on the feet, and I felt super comfortable. So it was a crazy experience.
It's an interesting aspect of the sport, isn't it? Because you're in that cage. I always want to know, like, are you in the cage? And you said you just sort of hit this, like, flow state almost. Like, You're not thinking individual moves. It's just sort of you've done the work and it comes out in the cage. Like you don't have to actually overthink it too much.
Yeah, man, I'm not thinking about anything in that fight, that's the ultimate goal. That's the way any of my great performances have been like that. Anything that's been lackluster has been when I'm thinking too much. So, I mean, almost all my fights have always been awesome, but like when I lost, it's because I was thinking too much, So that's something I've worked on deleting, and that's something that my training has sort of evolved and just fixed for me naturally. I didn't really have to do anything for this fight. Like at the back, I was just, I don't know, for a UFC fight, when they tell you like, all right, you're up next, I always get like pretty like, oh, here we go, like full on. For this one, I was like, all right, like it just felt like I was in the gym almost. I don't know. It was different this time.
And so you said, I think it was in the post-fight where you got the text next to your missus and she's like, why aren't you excited? I reckon after a performance like that, when your future opponents get a text that they're fighting you, I reckon they're going to be the ones starting to fucking – because that was a performance that's really put you, I reckon, a force to be reckoned with. 3-1 now, start of a year with a good win. Like, what does the rest of the year look like for you? What are you hoping to achieve?
So right now my foot is a bit damaged, so I've got to get that fixed up. But that's nothing new. I seem to do that every single fight. I'll get that done. I'm getting married at the end of the year, so I think I'm just going to have one more this year. I think.
Congratulations.
I think if I get to 4-1, thank you. If I get to 4-1 by the end of the year, 5-1 with Contender Series, I think that puts me in a good position to fight for like at least a top 20 position in early next year.
Yep.
And then middle of next year, hopefully I can then be in a position where I'm looking at top 15, top 10. So I reckon one more this year. I'll try and space it out a little bit, maybe August, September, around that, 5 to 6 months from now. Have a bit of upgrade time, bit of recovery time. Go then, take the rest of the year off, still train obviously, but get married and get all that stuff done, and then come back early 2026 and, really looking at a title run at that point.
Smart, mate. If you're going to get married, you probably don't want to be fighting too close to them.
Nah, you don't want to have the
because I still play footy, and we're thinking about going to Miami potentially. If the Volk might be fighting, we're thinking about going, and I still playing football at 40, and I've looked. The start of my season starts, and I said to him, I'm not starting football until after that trip, because if you get injured, you can't go. Yep. So I imagine your wife to be is probably like, look, I want you to fight, and I support you, but give me a bit of a window so if you get a busted beak or something, you're not going to ruin the wedding photos.
She hasn't said any of that because she just supports me. If I told her, if I said, hey, like I need to fight 3 times,
that's a legend. Good too.
Lovely, Dale.
Yeah, that's like, I've got to give back a little bit for her because she supports me. All of this, so I'm like, let's just get 2 done. I'm on my second contract. I've got it. Like I'm getting paid well enough now that it's okay. Just get the 2 done for the year.
Beautiful.
Finish the year undefeated. Come back and really, really have a red hot crack next year.
Good. It must be good to get that second contract with some wind under your belt, some cash now coming in, because obviously that first contract, it's all up in the air, mate. You don't know what the fuck's going to happen. You can get turfed out pretty quick in this business. You get that second contract, a little bit of stability behind you, mate. Off to the races, surely.
Yeah, like after that first loss, I didn't really realize it because like I said, coach told me, hey man, we're just going to get straight back in there. And I was like, all right, sweet. Like 3 weeks out or 4 weeks out, I realized if I lose to this guy, like that could be it. Like I'm 23 years old, in and out. Like I don't plan on coming back and fighting on Eternal or fighting on PFL or any of that shit. Like I just want to fight in the UFC. So if I was to get cut, that's it. I'm done. Yeah. Like I'm trying to find something else in life. That to me is my worst nightmare. That's such a horrible thought. Even though that wouldn't happen now, I'm still like, that makes my stomach churn. Like fuck that. Yeah. So it's a scary thing, man. Once you get that second contract, I think no matter what happens, you're kind of like stable enough that worst case, you could probably run a really successful gym. Like you're going to have enough of a credential behind you.
Yep.
You're going to want to, for sure. So it's like your worst case scenario, every time you win, becomes a lot better of a worst case scenario, even though you don't want that. Like, I want to be world champion. I want to be one of the best ever. That's my goal. But like every time the worst case scenario improves, it's a good little thing to keep in the back of your mind.
Very handy. And do they give you sort of feedback? Like obviously you don't probably talk to Dana White during these negotiations, but like Hunter Campbell or some of these, do you get like told like, we love what you're doing, man. Like this is good. Like we're behind you. We like the way you fight, that kind of stuff. Do you get much feedback?
It's my management who deals with it, so I'm not really sure how that works. But I mean, getting a contract is in itself feedback,
That's
and
the feedback.
I still
feedback,
had one fight. I still had one fight on my contract, so for me to have gotten another one
Good news.
with one more,
Yep.
I think that's pretty positive. You know, like I was only 2-1 on a 4-fight contract, and they renewed it for me. So
Beautiful.
and I
We
think
talk about
after
how
this
hard
one,
it must be for these guys on the first contract, or even to get that first contract, to be wanting to be an Eternal. You mentioned Eternal or a Hex. You know, wanting to be a professional fighter. Like we freaked, don't we? What the sacrifice you have to make at a potential chance that you make. You got to have so much self-belief, but to get a contract, you must be so excited. Then to get that second one, it's like, okay, now we've got a bit of room here where we can really go to work without that pressure of probably, you know, what a lot of people can't deal with. You know, mate, life is fucking expensive. So now you're in a position where you can probably properly go at it and be comfortable. And like you said, have one more fight and do some of this stuff where you can work, get your body right, not make rash decisions. That must be a really good reward for obviously a lot of effort that's gone into getting there.
yeah, man, for sure. And even the time off between fights, like I love to fight regularly, but I think they forced me to sit between the last Aussie card and this one. And at the time I was upset with it, but I think it's worked out to be super beneficial because now that I'm really going back to like being an MMA fighter, not just a striker, I'm enjoying my training so much more.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not just grappling to grapple or striking to strike. I'm actually like trying to take away from each and every single session. And you always feel like that's what you're doing. Like if you had to ask me, I'm like, yeah, I'm training 4 times a day, every day. Like I want this more than anything, but I can feel now my attention has like almost doubled, which is crazy. Like I feel like I've just started in the sense of how excited I am when I go to the gym at the moment, which is, you know, that's refreshing and I think it's rare. So right now, if I don't fight for 5 months, I'll tell you what, when I step back in there, whoever I'm against is
Leveled up again.
If they think the last version that just showed up is going to be what they should be scared of, it's not even going to be close. That's the thing about fighting me. It's like I fight Borshev. It's like I know who's going to show up. I know what that opponent's going to look like.
Exactly,
There's no surprises. If you fight me, I look different every single time I fight. So you give me 5 months off, you can put me in there against some pretty gnarly guys, and I think I'm still going to come out on top.
Because we had John McCullough in here, and he was doing what was he doing? Not construction. He was doing a scaffolding.
Scaffolding job.
So he'd work like as a scaffolder and then do the training that was required to like. So it's only going to be better for you if you just can take the scaffolding out and just train full time. It's just madness what some of these guys do, mate.
Just look back at Volk, who is now one of the GOATs of all time, but it wasn't always like that. And I've heard him tell stories back in the day. For years, that guy was slugging it out on the regional scene, trying to get noticed, doing fucking hashtag campaigns just to get noticed, just to try and get a fight.
Before TikTok.
And he had a family, had kids, he had a wife, and he would have had people around him going, what are you doing, bro? Like, there's no future in this. You've got kids. It's so easily Alex Volkanovski back then could have said, you know what? Too fucking hard. I'm just going to become a concreter and we're just going to... He could have done that. Yeah. He would have been within his rights to do that with kids.
Kids, man, that'd be hectic. Like, obviously that's something my partner has spoken about. It's like, no, not until like I'm financially set, like when I'm in the top, you know, top 5, top 10, because it's like, man, that's a scary thought. That's crazy that he did come out. I didn't realize he had kids before UFC. I mean, now I think about it, obviously, but I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. That would have been fucking tough, bro.
So
that's
hard.
crazy.
And like, you got to give respect to obviously his missus, who was a bit said, no, Alex, like you keep going, I'm behind you. Like a lot of people wouldn't do that. And imagine he never did it. We would never have known the greatness of someone. So it's just so and fucking
all of us
hard.
guys would have had a harder time getting in too.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, I think there's something to be said about the fighters and what they do, but the partners, you know, mentioned getting married later, and it doesn't get spoken enough about, but the amount of support and faith and love that the partners of the fighters put in them to actually chase their dreams. It's not every day that actually occurs, and to have such strong women and people behind you, like that must be motivating in itself, to have someone that believes in you so much and to allow you to do what you need to do and be selfish at times, no doubt, and just to know that what you're doing is why you're here, and that must be motivating.
100%, man. I feel like, you know, I was just thinking about that as you're saying it. Everyone in my support system is like that with me. So I've got a pretty small crew. You know, I've got my team, I've got my family, and I've got my friends, and that's it. And everyone who's around me supports me 100%. So it's like, it's not easy to get into to my crew. Like I've got a really small crew, but everyone backed me. My whole family. It's unreal. It's the best.
Not easy to become a friend of the podcast either. So you're part of our crew now.
Yeah, let's go.
And young man, Mako Shot, we often ask,
man,
like,
very
how,
young man.
look, we at your age, just as you is now, we were fucking about like two, idiots. Like he's at the elite level
Yeah,
sport
good.
doing what he's doing.
Incredible.
How hard has it been? Really, you said small circle, but you've obviously got the right people around you. But you're still a young man. You've been, from the age of 16 to say where you are now. How hard is it to be, I guess, to do what you've done versus what most other people go off and do and, go out and drink and, all that? Or has it been easy because this is what I'm good at and this is what I need to do to be where you are today? Because looking at it from afar, it would be tough, but obviously you're mentally, different to the rest of us at that age.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I started at 14. It was not an easy journey, bro. Like there's been a lot of tough times for me in the come up in this game.
Yeah.
Personal life, in the sport, all of it. Like being a kid, I lived probably an hour and a half bike ride away, and I'd have to go ride before school. Like I would be skipping school for training, getting home at like midnight because it was such a far travel.
Yeah.
Then I moved to the Gold Coast. Same thing. I moved down there. I moved the weekend after I finished school, and I just fought for my first amateur XFC title. Then the next day I moved into some stranger's house, some flatmates, with no license, no job, no work experience, nothing, riding a push bike around the Gold Coast with like no family, no friends, no nothing. I ended up surviving down there for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit and I got some pretty gnarly injuries. So I came back to Toowoomba, where my family are from. And then I was working a full-time job under my brother, training at 4 a.m. and then training all night after that. And then I had a ex-partner, which ended up all this bad shit happened. And I lost my house and I lost everything I had. And then rebuilt myself back up, started my pro career, then met my soon-to-be wife, and then, moved to Brisbane. And now the last couple of years, man, my life has been awesome. It's been unreal. Like the worst thing that's happened to me is that loss that I had, which has now been a blessing in disguise, like we discussed. And I'm finally at a point now where I do actually truly love my life and I appreciate every moment.
Yeah, good.
But to tell you the truth, the reason I got into this sport was because I kind of didn't have any self-value or self-worth. So I picked the hardest thing I could do. And I said to myself, this is like fighting is the hardest thing you could possibly do, in my opinion. This is the thing I'm going to pursue because my chances of actually doing this are very low, almost as a self-sabotage. And I just stuck with it and I got good at it. And now here I am.
It's a fucking incredible story. Do you talk to other blokes as well? Like we've had Jim Crude on. He's a good friend of the pod. He's gone through similar things with like the whole self-worth stuff and like thinking outside the cage he wasn't anything, he's got no value and all this kind of stuff. But like realizing you just got to get rid of that mindset and like free yourself from that shit. Like do you talk to other dudes and try and get, some advice or anything like
that? Well, like I said, that mindset was when I was a fair bit younger, the last few years, I feel like I've really matured and I appreciate my family and my friends and my small crew, like I explained before. I appreciate them so much and almost everything I do is for them now, like my team and everything. So, we're pretty close, us boys in the gym, we talk, we're not like the stigma. If we're feeling down, we do have a chat, which is the way it should. But outside of that, not really. Outside of that, man, my therapy was my martial arts, man. I was just an angry kid. I'd rock up to the gym, train with the older guys, have some role models, I suppose, and go home feeling much better.
Such a good outlet for that, though. Like, imagine you just didn't decide to do that and you decided to be that angry dickhead kid. There's a lot of angry dickhead kids up in Queensland or around Australia right now doing silly things. How good martial arts is, man.
Once I'm done, I would love to have a gym where I can run some sort of program where I can help out with the youth and sort of help out the kids that, when I was in that position, put them on a better path because it's saved my life. Like, I was friends with people you just explained growing up and the only reason I didn't partake was because I was like, well, I've got a fight coming up. I can't do that, I can't be doing that stuff. So I've got to fight. So, and then eventually you end up not being, as time goes on, they go down a different path. I go down the path I'm on. And at the time I think to myself, maybe, people aren't going to like me because I'm not doing what everyone else is doing and I'm not fitting in. And
Don't give a fuck.
now all those people really like me. So
Yeah, exactly they do.
It's kind of sad though, isn't it? That some people probably don't have the skill that you do to go and actually have an outlet for it. And
Not even skill, I reckon. It's just that mindset.
yeah, but I mean, obviously he's a natural at the sport. Like you could get 100 people to go in and do what he's done.
Not
and
everyone's going to be.
Not everyone's actually got it. So it's a little bit unfortunate. Some people don't have the outlet. Sorry, you were saying?
I was not. I was
Really?
I was the least. Oh man, I was so bad. I got told by multiple people when I first started.
Wow.
In my first 2 years, I got told by like 3 people, "Hey man, this is not the sport for you. Like you definitely need to go somewhere else."
We might have to make a run
was
at
hot.
40, Mick.
Hard work.
The heavyweight division's lacking.
We could take a few of those heavyweights.
Number 31. Let's get signed.
No, but that's good to hear that, though. It isn't just natural talent that gets you to the dance all the time.
I assumed it was.
It's mentality, man. It's hard
Yeah.
work and just putting your ass down or ass up.
Yeah, I sucked so bad, man. I was so bad.
Andrew Maloney or Jason, I forget which one, the boxers.
We always throw him under the bus.
One of them said he lost like his first 10
One of the
amateur
great Australian boxers, you're
lost
telling
his
us.
first 10
Yeah.
amateur fights, and he's kept saying, like,
Yeah, right.
you're
You're stitching
mugging
me
me
up.
off here? Like,
Yeah.
what's happening?
I'm no good at this.
And they're
Why
like, no, you're good. And then he's gone on to have massive fights. But it's funny because he said he thought he was the worst fighter ever. So I should have known that, actually.
Yeah.
Silly by me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, mate, it's been fucking unreal to have you on the pod finally. This will be the first of many, no doubt. You said next year we're going to start talking titles. We're going to do it all, mate. How do you see the division shaping up, man? Because there's a lot of killers in that one. The 155 is stacked.
Yeah.
But just say you got thrown into a fight next year against one of these top fives. Mate, tell us how to go.
Well, I think the top 5 is going to look very different next year. I think right now, man, I swear that top 15 has looked the same since I was like a kid.
aging.
I was even in the UFC. It's all the same guys. So
Chandler's still like
obviously
number 4 or
but-
something.
yeah, man, these guys only fight like once a year. So I think a lot of them are on their way out. You know, Poirier's talked about his retirement. I think Gaethje wouldn't be far off. I think Chandler wouldn't be far off. You know, a lot of these guys are on the way out. So, but yeah, fighting these guys, I think it's hard to really explain how it would go because it's going to depend on who I fight. But I think I'm well-rounded enough that I can hang with any of these guys, you know. So in a year from now, I think I'll be double in skill what I am now as well. So like I said, I'm continually growing. I'm getting better. I'm addicted to the game. Like I love it. So in a year from now, I think I'm going to be a really, really dangerous athlete. And I think I definitely could hang there. And if the UFC choose to put me on the longer path at lightweight, which is fairly common, a lot of these guys are having like 6 fights before they get even a top 15 shot.
Yeah.
So if that's, I think I'll just have to beat a few more guys on the way, which I'm fine with.
But you never know, though. We've got other friends of the pod, Steve Ursig, stuff like that. I know it's a different division, but like this sport, good performances meet opportunity.
Dana loves it.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in this sport, mate. So who knows what goes on in 2026
Absolutely, mate.
or the end of 2025 as well. Who knows?
We know he's getting married into 25, so.
We don't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100%
Come on,
non-negotiable.
Wonder if he got a big fight, though, if he'd have to just maneuver the wedding a little bit, if something just happened.
All right. If they get, my missus would be cool with that. She'd be like, yeah, whatever, let's do
We'll
it.
postpone it. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Well, mate, it's been a pleasure. We'll talk soon. But for now, thanks heaps for coming on. And yeah, good luck, whatever comes next.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks, boys.
Get on a gauge.
Yeah.
Choo-choo.
Well, Mako Shark, everyone's sick of me saying it. I always say it after every episode, after every chat, that was the best one. But I tell you what, that was a cranker of a chat. I don't know if that's even a term you can use. That's probably more of a man sitting
It was a banger, bro. These
banger,
ones.
sorry. Cranker's more of a lonely man at home, Mako Shark. Cranking one
I've
out.
been a cranker in my time.
We've all been there, Mako Shark. Coco was pre-Christmas. Now he's not. He's not having to crank at all. We don't need to crank. But I tell you, that episode was unbelievable.
Crank that interview.
That chat, fuck. And he popped for the shirt. He loved the shirt. I had my shirt on every other episode. I just didn't wear it today.
All right. I thought I'd get a cheap pop in. I want to get on his wavelength.
Well, I'm
Me and you.
on Izzy's wavelength in this. But Mako Shark, huge future for the boy.
Great future.
Boy, you can't call him boy for the man.
He's a young fella.
Yeah, young fella.
He's an up-and-coming star of the sport.
Yeah.
It was a good chat. Good fight, mate. It was very impressive to see him. He's had a lot of hype about he's a knockout artist.
Yes.
Knocks blokes out. He doesn't have many strings to his bow, maybe. Either knocks out or he gets knocked. Mate, he went out there and he displayed a full range of mixed martial arts, the whole gamut, if you will.
May I ask, where does that come from? Where people go, oh, he doesn't have many strength. Who are the people that say that? Because I've heard it many a fighter,
Probably all those crankers at home just sitting there. I don't know.
In between cranks, they're throwing out a couple of fucking opinions on Reddit.
I don't
But it's
know,
weird, isn't it? Because I'm certain they don't get to the UFC only having one string to their bow. It's too competitive. You got to have a bit more these days.
Well, you probably sometimes see blokes, they do get into the UFC with that one string, but then you can't succeed at the top level with that one
So
string.
they don't win.
You get found out and you get turfed. But as I said, he's now 4 fights in, 3-1 now, 3 in a row.
3-1's big.
3 straight on a streak. Now starts looking at that rankings, I reckon. Top 15 maybe next if you're lucky. And entertaining fighter. Dana loves him. Always in a good fight. Either knocks blokes out or showed what he showed last week in Sydney. It was beautiful.
Showing some maturity for a younger man too, to have a loss. Because imagine like the build up, you get there and then you lose.
Yeah,
but then to
get to you.
bounce back and have
a great
3.
bounce back.
So that shows a bit about him. And there's no doubt that the big wigs would go, there's something about this kid.
I really enjoyed his vulnerability in coming out and saying, like, he was scared to fight. Not shitting himself, like, I'm scared, but internally nervous about fighting a bloke like Slava Claus, who is a tough, scary man.
So there have to be guys like that, though.
They're all like that. Some people just don't want to admit it, I reckon.
See, if I was a fighter, I'd be like, I'm not a fighter, and I'm probably wouldn't be scared to fight Colby Covington by just looking at him because he looks like a fucking doofus.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be sexy and cool. He's the least sexy, cool guy on the earth. If I'm getting in the ring against him, I'd go,
you're not going to knock me out, Spark.
If I've got like fighting ability, he doesn't frighten me. But then you come against a guy like Brock Lesnar.
Why are you shitting yourself?
And I actually wouldn't even go to the ring.
I just think it's good.
One of the toughest. I wouldn't walk in.
Fuck, I wouldn't fight a Justin.
Nah.
I wouldn't fight anyone. No, I'm too.
No, but there's certain guys in the optics that, and then you watch some of their stuff and you go, yeah, they're not as scary. So,
I just like that. I reckon there's a lot of bravado in this sport. It's a very macho game, and most people don't want to show any type of vulnerability. But for him to actually come out and say, I think it was fantastic.
Well,
it made him a better man and a better fighter, having that respect and that fear of the opponent.
Well, it got him. That's a great win.
Fucking sick win.
He's a sicko, the bloke he fought. Slava Claus.
He's a bit of a sicko. No, it was a good win. So I was excited by that chat.
What do you think's next for him, quickly, before we move on?
I don't know, really. I just think he'll fight hopefully another couple of times this year, once or twice more. Maybe one more fight, then win that, 4 in a row. Let's start talking top 15s.
So we assume Perth will be back on the card, because Perth are paying for a lot of stuff, right?
They're talking that. Perth
So it'd be
fight
great.
night, potentially.
Yeah,
not
it'd be good if he fought abroad and then got back for that. That'd be a great year. Sydney somewhere win, Perth win.
Great year.
Then you hit 2026 with a real fucking in your brain.
And Tommy Nolan does the fucking, I reckon. Choo-choo.
Well, we do the fucking.
He says choo-choo to the Dale as he comes in.
Has to.
Train, like.
Did you ask him?
Did I ask him, mate? Like, you've heard the interview. I don't think I did. Maybe we edited it. But
Can we ask him? Can we go back and ask him?
Didn't ask him. Next time we get him on, I'll ask if he choo-choos the Dale as he enters.
You can't say that.
You can't.
Can you?
You can't.
No,
That's
you
why I
can't.
didn't say it to him.
That's
See if he listens this far. Yeah, there you go.
his mum or someone's probably listening and going, those two fucking blokes, they're no good. Anyway, Mako, thanks for coming on, because we felt like because as I said, we've both now got his shirt. I've worn his shirt proud. He's felt like a friend of the pod.
Yeah. Well, that's
before. So now he is a friend of the pod.
You have to be on the pod to be officially a friend of the pod,
so
right?
He's been a friend of the pod, but he's not officially a friend.
We've tried. There's been scheduling issues, I reckon, 3 or 4 different times. We've gone to have him on and it just hasn't worked.
Correct.
Finally got him on. Similar with Quillan Salkild, who we'll talk about when we get to the 312. But he also is not quite an official friend of the pod, but is a friend of the pod.
We've wanted him on, though.
We want him on. We nearly got him on. We'll get him on.
Yeah. But let's put that out there. We're not picking and choosing.
No, we want him on.
We've shown.
Cody Haddon. We want him on.
We want boys and all the boys and women on.
We're all about all the boys.
And women.
Love the women.
Yeah.
Love the women.
Can't not.
Not enough of the women in this country.
It's actually, there's a bit of a, we'll get it, I don't know. There's not much happening, is there?
There's a few, but no. Delightful liquid, Matthew.
Where can they get that Mako Shark 40-foot Irish whiskey? The rebellious, what is it?
The rebel spirit of Ireland.
Fantastic.
Ireland. The 40-foot, if you don't know either, it's a big, fuck-off, huge rock in the middle of Dublin. And it's like in the ocean. And people go down there. It's like saying to some Melburnian, have you been to the MCG? They'd be like, yeah, mate. You say to anyone from Ireland in Dublin, have you been to 40-foot? They'll be like, yeah, mate. It's
Connor has?
Big thing. You jump off into the ocean. That's the 40-footer.
When Connor's jumped off?
He'd have fucked on the 40-foot, I reckon.
Tell what made me giggle. Someone put up a Connor video from, remember when he was on his yacht when he first sort of the UFC sold and they all made money? And he's like on his yacht going, lads, I'm just having a workout. And he's like, that's someone from the UFC. And he was like, I'll be over there in a minute as he's doing like his bite. It's just the funniest. Lads, it's just like, it's just so ridiculous. We've made it, he kept screaming.
Yeah. On you, you seen the video when he was up there and he had his dog sucking him right off?
He had the suck off video there. And, Mako Shark, you've told me, you've expressed some disdain for this next segment. You've expressed that it's hurting you, carrying it. So, look, for all the listeners and watchers out there, this could be the final tank.
What are we? How many episodes? What, is it
154.
4. Yeah, it's a lot of episodes, right? To continually try to have a segment where I want to pot something.
You're the opposite of like a James Corden or one of these like TV show hosts that want it all about them.
I'd love to go back to the first 20 or 30 eps off Broadway when no one's ever heard them. Just steal some of my good tanks early and bring them onto video.
Bring them back.
Like I've got some people.
We could do a check-in though.
Might have to just go back and revisit some of the classics.
Maury Povich where they have them on and then they check in a year later.
Does this still annoy you? And I'll be like, yes, it does.
That's what we'll do. We'll go back but Mako Shark, this could be the final one until we do a bit of a Maury Povich rewatch. You've got something for me. It's annoyed you.
Pissed me off on the, last weekend now?
Okay, where were you?
I was out with the day. I was somewhere having lunch. Can't actually remember the exact restaurant.
You've written it down though, so it's annoyed
I wrote down what pissed me off. I didn't write down where I was.
That's okay.
Think about that off camera.
Don't name and shame the restaurant either.
No, well, it's not the restaurant. It's a patron.
Sorry, a bit of semen in my throat.
Sorry about that. I've been retaining.
Look, it happens. I've got more. Go ahead, please.
You got to do your fucking intro, don't you? Or you don't do that anymore?
No, I don't do it anymore.
You got to tell them what it is.
I just told them, Mako Shark Tank.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck you. You're not that interested. You're not getting big fucking...
That's fair, mate.
You used to get the big Bruce Buffer, Michael Buffer combination. I used to talk about it for 6 minutes.
You used to go longer than the segment.
I did. I used to make the segment about me, like the apple cider vinegar girl. It used to be about me until you got on. And now, you don't want to be interested? I'll just say it.
All right. Well, it's Mako Shark Tank this week, mate. And I can tell you what. I've had enough with these people. You're going to be on the board. I reckon Coco's on board. Yeah. And if you're not on board, you're a fuckwit, right?
Yeah.
Anyone out there that orders their steak above medium can just hit the showers. I was eating lunch with the dough, having a lovely little dinner, not a dinner, lunch, just snacking away, snacking out of the peripheral ears. I hear some fucking skin bag on the next table.
What was he? Aussie bloke? Southern 80 kind of guy?
Oh, he was from... no, it wasn't.
No, okay.
I don't really want to get in too much into his demographics.
Okay. Get back.
Waiter comes over. Yeah, what would you like? Blah, blah, blah. He's ordered whatever it was, like a porterhouse or T-bone or whatever it was. And they've gone, how would you like that cooked, sir? You know what he come out with?
Don't tell me.
Medium well. I stopped. I put the knife and fork down. I said,
medium well.
Have a look at this dickhead ordering medium well. Who do you think you are, right? Forget the word medium. You obviously want well, because why would you ever utter the word well if you're ordering a steak unless you're terrified of a little bit of pink?
Medium.
Who the fuck?
Was he on a date with the bloke?
Is
he scared of the pink?
Oh, I was going to drop a fucking slur then. He is no
slur, Mako Shark.
I tell you what, you say the word well in a steak establishment, there should be a button that gets pressed and people come in and just remove you from the joint, mate.
I think your seat should just get ejected down.
Fuck off. Chefs should have just abort the mission and say, I'm not doing it. Medium well is ridiculous, right? I'm not out of line here.
No, you're not. You're in
a fucking loser. You're a soft cock.
Yeah.
If you even the word medium, fuck off.
I would have rather you just say well. Just wear it.
Own it. Coco, in the booth, thoughts?
Yeah. It's stupid. It's ridiculous.
You can't confuse the two.
He's trying to pretend that he's still got a bit of spunk about him with the word medium.
Okay, I'll tell you. Imagine you heard someone say, I want it blue, well.
Well, blue, red. You don't say these things.
Blue, medium. You just say what it fucking is. It's fucking rare. Blue, rare, medium, well. You
just be a normal human and say medium rare and get the fuck out of there. If you're on a date, women out there, and you're on your Tinders or your Hinges or your Bumbles, and you go on a date and the bloke you're with just doesn't say medium rare, get out of there. It's a red flag, mate.
Just say, I don't even think medium rare should exist. Medium should just be medium rare.
What should? Yeah. Well, they've got that chart, it's a gradient.
Yeah, but rare is rare.
Can sometimes be a bit scary.
Yeah.
People might not want rare. I get that. But
medium, stock medium should just be medium rare.
Should be nothing above medium rare.
And that's it. That's where it stops for me. If I opened a steak restaurant, you wouldn't be allowed in unless you ordered that as a minimum. Sorry, Mac, that's the height.
Max.
We don't go any higher here.
Phone in if you're one of these well-done people.
We're going to get Coco to get this line, because we've...
Phone in.
A lot of
anyone out there that's ever ordered a well-done steak or a medium well?
What do they want from a well-done steak, though?
I want to know what
are they hoping to achieve?
I think anything above medium is just jerky.
That's a good point.
Good call. Good call, Coco.
Jerky and chips.
You just absolutely torched your piece of meat. My brother too, he's a bit of a soft cock. I was cooking burgers once about 6 years ago. I was getting all this fucking lean, but I was getting
Getting right in
brisket
there.
and some chuck, and I was mixing it all together and
You were doing stuff.
making these sick burgers. Like I think I was in New York, I was little big fucking sick ones. And over there, when you get a good burger, it comes a little bit pink in the middle.
You and I we freaked the first time we went to America.
Yeah, this-
05, they asked us when we had a burger, how would you like it cooked? We're like,
Those big fat ones.
yeah, we didn't know. Because we
I
hadn't,
didn't know, but
in Australia, they char the fuck out of
so
them.
I'm like cooking these big juicy boys.
Yeah, big
And
boys.
I cooked them lovely, like just a little bit of hint of pink in there. And my brother started panicking at the table. What's going on? No, this is not cooked. This burger's raw. And I'm like, you are an absolute.
Who's that? Right, the tone of how you made that sounds Lee.
Yeah. Yep. Fucking, I nearly had to flip the table too. The doll had to hold me down. She said, just let it go.
We're a big
I
fella.
was like, go put it back on the grill then, you fucking stain.
You're still claiming him as a brother after that.
Wow, I have to, don't I? He's all right. He's okay.
He's okay. He's a good fella.
he's all right.
But he's never got around this podcast.
No, he doesn't know anything about anything. Doesn't give a fuck, no.
Del Coco, we went to at least 1,000 of his band's shows. We went all around the world chasing them and being good guys, carrying gear.
Roadied his fucking
Not
shit
as
for
in
a
gear, but
decade.
actual like gear. Doing everything. Wearing T-shirts, putting stickers on people's fucking lockers at school. Really, the marketing machine of us.
No, we were a machine.
And then you're telling him he's got the galls and don't even know we have a podcast.
And now we do the fucking. Where is he?
Just
He's nowhere to
disappointing.
be seen, mate.
Happens too often too.
People drop off, go. All you got to do is start Australia's hottest podcast, and you realise no one gives a fuck.
Okay, so we'll stop this segment now.
Yeah, stop it. But it's a good tank if it's the
Great
last one
se-
ever.
no, but I'm saying we'll stop, but if we don't want to know anyone that does above medium. That's it.
Even if like I'm a snob maybe, I'm an elitist, but even if you just order medium, I reckon there's something wrong with you.
That'd be a great quote. Mako Shark. I'm a snob. I'm a little bit of an elitist.
Yeah, maybe I am.
Self-given too. I like it.
Even if you just say medium, I reckon you're no good.
No, that's what I said to you, medium rare.
Yeah, that's just
It's not
it.
going to kill you. It's beautiful.
From birth, it should be mandatory,
Well, I'll
like
tell you, my 5-year-old
vaccinations.
son, I cook steak for him. 5-year-old son, medium rare. Loves it.
The way to do it.
Snorts it.
Hope you.
And he's 5.
You crush them, we snort them.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
another T-shirt.
That's the t-shirt.
It is. What's next, Mako Shark?
The other one, Desi come up with the other shirt. It all comes out in the wash.
No, it
That's the
does.
one. It's a back print.
That many times I've said to Desi, either way, with footy or when we're doing stuff, you get that. He goes, yeah, mate, it's all good. It all comes out in the wash.
Does all come out in the wash.
Does all come out, unless it doesn't.
Unless you're with a complete medium rare eater.
And then
there's medium well eater.
medium well, and then it
Doesn't come out in the wash.
come out in the wash, and then it becomes a tsunami. And then you're probably no longer friends anymore. Mako Shark 312. Give it a little review. Let's talk about the weekend. So we obviously had the live podcast.
Yes.
There was at least 20,000 people in the locker room hotel. I've never seen. I don't think their liquor license was even allowed. But we broke records.
we broke the RSAs, all that shit.
The attendance record for the locker room has been shattered by 10 times from us.
Jam packed. How good was it?
UFC tried
They
to
were
put
all
an event
there,
on
mate.
above us, trying
I
to.
heard it was fucking Marab or something's up there. I didn't even know.
Marab and Bam Bam.
No one even
We had
knew
more.
that.
We had more people in our
We had
room.
more heads in our room than the Marab and Bam Bam room.
We
Say
should
that
just-
much.
why wouldn't you just combine? Anyway, that's a story for another
Well,
day.
actually, there was a couple of people before our show started.
Tell
was
Cocker, he'll love this.
So, yeah, air was like this first level up, and then there was a second rooftop level that had this UFC actual official experience going on, which I didn't even know about. Before our show started, the room was just packed full of people, but then we could just see clearly there was this like a lovely older lady who was obviously with her
Taking
son, and they had these like lanyards around their neck with their UFC experience things on, and they were just, you just knew they were there for the actual UFC stuff, and they were just sitting there, just waiting for this thing to start. And we knew, and we're like, there's no way they are going to expect us to come out and
This
just
is the experience.
start talking absolute shit.
This is
I hope they enjoyed it.
mate. They were there.
And I hope they got out and saw
Beryl
Marab.
and Tim, I reckon that was their names.
Beryl
She looked like a
and
Beryl,
Jimmy.
and he looked like a Jimmy.
Maybe not a Jimmy.
They
Maybe a
sat
Timmy.
on that
No,
couch.
Timmy
They
for
sat
sure.
on that couch the whole time.
They stayed for the show,
I
did they?
watched. Don't worry, I had a hawk on them because they had the lanyard, the fan experience lanyard, and they got an experience.
We dropped 17 F-bombs and probably a couple of Cs in the first 90 seconds.
Do you know who I was looking at? You know how I normally, with that stuff, I always try and find the most sensible person in the room, right? And when we're doing stuff, so Ali Mack was there.
She's pretty sensible.
Shout out to Ali Mack, doing great things. But I was just, every now and then I just eyeballed her when something big happened just to see, and she loved it. Same with Leon.
Yeah. If
Our girl,
Melissa
Mel.
Leon can laugh, then
If those two are like your baseline of when you're being a dickhead, if you got a weird face out of them, you know, okay, we've gone too
I'm still
far.
waiting for her to ever get to it back, and she never says anything. She always says, that was great.
Yeah.
I'm like, you sure? What about when I said that? It was great.
Yeah.
All right.
I think everyone's just positive about everyone's thing. I think it's known that we're fuckwits, like compared to like journalists. I think it's known that we do the fucking.
Wow. I think some of the fighters know that too from the stuff that we were hearing in the media room over the weekend. I'll tell you what, there was some fucking.
Boy.
I won't go into it on camera, but whoo, gee whiz.
So that was great. Saturday, great day, Caterpillar Club. Charmer yacht after seeing the Volk.
Oh, it was big.
That was big. So it's a big day there.
I love the Volk. How good's the Volk, right? Should we tell him that? What he said to us?
I've told Coco, you can tell the world
people out there how good of a bloke Volk is, even if he didn't mean it. We saw him at this function. He saw us. He was getting ushered out quickly. He saw the boys. He goes, hey, how you going, boys? And he jumped over and we gave him a quick hug.
We love a hug.
And then,
Kill for a hug
even
with
if he's
Volk.
just humouring us, he goes, oh, saw the show went well last night. I was going to come down. I was going to get there. And I'm like, okay, Alex. It's all right. You didn't have to come. It's fine. I understand why you didn't come. But for him to say that,
I think he was going to come.
warms my heart.
Because Leong and Paharilio
yeah.
were doing
No,
the.
they would have been there together.
And
would
they
see-
probably said, what are you doing?
going across to the Fookers, but I actually think about it. Imagine we were doing our podcast live and then just at the back of the room, Alex Volkanovski walked in.
Well,
You reckon we have a podcast anymore? The room would have stopped.
Mm-hmm.
They would have all turned around and ran off on us. So it's good he didn't come.
He would have come in and got up.
That would have been good.
And then I think the whole venue would have swarmed in and it probably would have caused chaos. So it's good of him. He's a good man not to come and put people's health at risk.
Oh, but God bless him.
And then the event maker, Shark, and I said to you, I looked to you early because we got there early. Don't worry, we
First fight fuckers.
went. It's an event shirt, first fight fuckers, because we have a
First
real
fight
issue.
fuckers.
Coco, we got a real issue with these people.
That's a shirt. Write that down.
That pay for tickets, Coco. Tell us what you think of this, because we get there early and there's some great talent on, and people don't get to their seats until like the third last fight.
Especially in that like VIP zones that get all freebies and that. They don't even
It's
give up.
ridiculous. It's disrespectful.
Does me.
But I looked at you early and went, this is one of these cards. It's going to really set us alight. There were some great performances, obviously, our man Choo Choo and a few others that we went, whoo, some bangers.
Bangers early.
Jono beating fucking
get
old
into
mate
him.
from
I'm gonna
City
get
Kickboxing.
Well, Quill and Salkill come out early. First
right,
fight of the
14
night.
seconds?
And just went whammo. 19 seconds.
Yeah.
India number one, not on that occasion.
Family WhatsApp group was going off mine with that.
Were they fucking shattered?
Oh, yeah. Team India.
The in-laws would have been flat.
Uncle Lewis was devastated. It's the only time he's ever watched it.
Actually did watch it, did they?
No.
No, I was going to say. Gee whiz. Gee whiz. So,
Uncle Lewis, though, I'll tell you what he does. You go to his house, he invites you over for a function. If Indian cricket's on or Richmond's on,
Can't speak.
he sits in the full team tracksuit. His head, it's like it's stuck on the screen. You walk in, he just goes, hello, boy. And he's just he doesn't even
Can't
like
miss
look
a
at
second.
you.
Yeah,
No,
good. I like
doesn't. He's in the pocket, full tracksuit too.
I love that.
Yeah.
Big Uncle Sweet Lou.
Uncle Lewis and his wife Pinky calls her Pinker. He says, Pinker, food. And he just sits and Pinker brings food and he does not move
Very
off.
chivalrous.
Oh, yeah. It's an old school household.
Was it an arranged, am I allowed to say, is it an arranged marriage?
I don't know if it was an arranged one. I should be able to fill in on that. I don't think too many of them are.
Still happens.
No, it happens. Oh,
Tell you
yeah.
what, who arranged for a KO was fucking
Is real.
Quillen Sackhild. Quillen.
Quillen.
Not Quillen. Quillen.
It's
Good
Quillen.
name. I can't wait to get him on.
Sounds like it could be like a Quillen, like a high end mattress.
Yes, get yourself a Quillen, yes. Extra
I've got
fluffy
the King
goose
single Quillen.
feathered Quillen. Yeah, probably right.
Yeah.
He smashed his face off in
No, he
90
did.
seconds. People were saying, oh, it was a shit stoppage, but
I
it
thought
wasn't,
it was.
mate. You thought it was, but the dude who had no idea where he was, that's why he was like trying to hug the ref's leg for like
I
another
did that
minute.
more for the family though.
He was fucking gone, mate. You got out of
Dead down
there
on your
with less brain damage. Yeah. It was a good stoppage, good win. Maybe not
Imagine
second.
this for a second. Imagine coming out and doing that. We've always said that.
Dave, it was actually really a boss move when he did
But like,
the cigar thing.
You've done that whole camp and then you've come in, you've not even been touched. You do that and like, fuck.
He couldn't have even dreamt in his dreams thinking about how I hope this goes well.
Because we do.
He wouldn't have come up with that.
We see guys get wheelchaired out after winning because their legs are chopped up and
He didn't get touched. He got to do his dope ass
that
celebration.
He went for it 3 or 4 times too, just to make sure we saw it.
There'll be photos he could frame of him doing some that sort of stuff. I thought it was fantastic. He went out and painted the town red afterwards.
And friends of the pod, our earliest, some of our earliest, the management, I think.
Jazz, the management, Addict Sports, they're good people.
Give them that's a nice.
Good people.
They've been on
Addict
us
Sports.
from day one.
Great people. So we're going to get them on. They're not friends of the pod yet, Cody and Quillen.
Yeah.
I'll clip this up and just let them get on the boys.
Get on the boys. Boys are on them.
We love you.
As I said, we saw that early, and I looked at you and went, fuck this.
We're on here.
We're on.
Yep.
Yeah, it sort of took a bit of a turn, didn't it?
Did it?
Well, yeah, man, Colby lost.
I hasn't got there yet.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. It took a bit of a turn.
No, but next fight up, I think, maybe his third fight. A big friend of the pod. Had him in this very studio. I love him quite a lot. Jono McAuliffe went out there and put on a clinic in his UFC debut.
Dude.
One of the best performances of the night for mine.
That's a tough fight to come in.
The fight Kevin Jousset at best, Matthew, when you say nothing at all.
Yeah.
That is a tough.
Can Coco splice that in? Because we can you tell the listeners, when we popped for that in one of our audio episodes, and we were singing it, we even did a little clip and we put it up. He saw it, sight seeing,
He didn't reply.
So you know what? Nice humorous man.
Wow, we love CKB, but he didn't reply.
Love CKB, but we like humour more than anything.
We do, mate. But look, Jono went out there, as we didn't expect that fight either. For a debut, it was kind of a late notice announcement.
Yeah.
To get Kevin Jousset on debut was a tough task for Jono McAuliffe. Went out there and just, chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss.
Those fucking rib kicks.
Oh, boy.
Coco will splice it in. He was butchering those
a lot
ribs.
of splicing. He's got to go watch bloody Bridget Jones's Diary 2 or something tonight.
He'll get there, mate.
You're asking for a lot from Coco.
He went out there 3 rounds, controlled the pace.
Yeah.
His striking was on point. The kicks were electric.
Yeah.
Looked good everywhere, on the mat, on the feet. Everything about that was just sublime from Jono and all the team down there at Combat One. They were fucking unreal.
I have a theory. I told you my theory. I think that the UFC hold him in high regard, right?
I reckon they do.
And I think they wanted him to have a fight against a guy like that. So when he wins it, now they can start pushing him through quick.
One fight in, I'm
That's
talking
what I'm
rankings.
saying.
Yeah.
Because if he just fights a can, we can't call anyone a can because we're cans. But you just put him up some fucking 0-4 guy and he wins. You go, great, he won. But it doesn't really do anything.
No.
You put him against that guy and he wins. You go, hang on a second. And he's a kid versus a man, really, age-wise and experience levels here. And he fucking looked great.
I think
probably one of the great performances we've seen.
Yep.
I mean, I'll say if you put last year's collective of the Aussie fight, like that's a fuck.
He just
That's
looked like a kid that was ready and knows his talent.
got tested too.
Got tested and just those kicks were
Kevin kept walking at him.
Third round he was testing him as well. And no, he stood up to it and unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal for a young man. And mate, there's the rig on him too. I reckon there's a bloke in better shape than Jono McAuliffe out there. The cunt's got fucking
My biggest fear to have a rig
those
like that.
things around here that just like
Do you know why?
cheese graters.
Because the minute you don't have it, I reckon you'd always look back and go, fuck that rig.
Jeez, I look good, didn't I?
That's a rig, bro.
Look at that.
It's like you could play the accordion on his fucking.
Yeah,
He got the little rib bits.
He's got those little things.
Those little
That's
bits.
what they are, mate.
I've got them, but fat.
A good win, Jono.
And
Keep
as you
it up.
said, there was some people that tried to take the shine off him. We won't name names, but you know who you are out there, and that's not what we're about.
Not
Fuck
right.
that.
No.
They didn't like it either.
Wow.
As you saw by our video, friends of the pod don't lose.
Friends of the pod just don't lose, and we said
Tell
that.
Coco off air, he won't be happy with it either. But stop doing that. That's not fun.
Shout out Jono McAuliffe. Nothing but fucking love.
Shock jocks, we don't like them. Probably still wear underpants. That's like is in the jock. You know those ones, those little speedo jocks.
Little fucking G-bangers or something?
Yeah, like that's
shocking
I reckon
jocks.
I reckon he wears women's
Shocking.
panties, that bloke.
Larry David does,
Yeah, but I reckon he does too, this bloke.
essentially.
Yeah. Anyway,
Next fight up.
I was that close to naming him and shaming him, but I
don't
won't.
do that, mate.
I'd love to.
All good.
Okay.
There was a few other fights, blah, blah, blah. You mentioned just before, our man, friend of the pod,
Yeah.
Colby Thickness.
Yeah.
The story of the week,
It was.
him getting called up and fighting.
Can I also say an amazing performance? Because these guys are going from fighting in, like, respectfully, high school gyms, right?
Yep.
You're fighting in front
Fighting
of
in barns.
And even just you and I sitting there, how fucking loud the music is. That was blowing us away. Imagine walking out.
I think even maybe Firejack said to us maybe, or someone has on the pod that, there's no middle ground in this sport. You go from just local fucking rinky-dink.
Yeah.
Maybe there's 1,000
All due
people in there.
respect with this
500 people.
rinky-dink, but like it is.
You go from fucking nothing
Yeah.
to just all of a sudden you're in a packed out stadium with 20,000 people and it's like there is no middle ground.
It's like that with the footy, though. We always go, fuck, he ducked his head. It's like the kid's 18, monstering 18-year-olds. He's playing Anzac Day and just accidentally he just puts the head down a bit because there's 100,000.
Get written off.
And then you go, you weak prick. Like, we're very quick with that. But I will say that must have been even though he did look like he handled it well, in the back of his head. Imagine being in that, like just sitting in that octagon and having that whole, because it's a big stadium.
Terrifying. But no, he wasn't overawed.
And I would say he probably only lost the fight, in my opinion. I think he'd be happy for me to say this because we love him. But I just think maybe a couple of failed takedowns probably gave Topuria enough. Because, and let's just be, Topuria, he doesn't, a better fighter in some of those positions would have finished that fight, in my opinion, earlier than what he did. He went to the judges. Probably made a couple of mistakes, I thought, going for the leg, and then he was all of a sudden had his back, but couldn't do anything with it. So he'll come back.
I think Colby's going to be good. I think he beats quite a few people.
Volk involved, like that's not normal either. Like you normally
how good was Volk trying to take a sip of the water bottle, and that was funny.
Did Coco see that?
You seen that, Coco? Yeah, and he even gave the goes. Oop.
Yeah, it was good. But I mean, he's had his debut.
Very cute, man.
But he's also he's got the Volk there. He's got Topuria dimes too. There's a lot happening outside of just the fight. So hopefully his next one he can just go and fight, and it'll be a little bit less.
This isn't a case of you achieved your dreams, you made it to the UFC, now it's done. No. It's the beginning now. It's just the start.
But you know what I mean? Like he can just have a fight now where there's not as much pressure. And
he come out in some media and was like, it's a one-fight deal, but I hope it's not. I don't know. He wasn't 100% sure. I think he might have clarified later.
We've always been told that it's always a 3 fight.
It normally isn't. I agree. It's like you get signed up, you get 3 cracks or whatever, but sometimes maybe there could be extenuating circumstances. He did say, I think it's a one-fight deal, but he then also might have got told, dickhead, don't say that. And maybe it isn't. I hope it isn't. I hope he gets some more fights and he doesn't have to go back to those.
Just clarify, you don't think he's a dickhead?
His management would have said, why'd you say that? Don't say a 1 fight.
Yeah, it's a 5-fight deal.
Yeah, so I hope he is contracted and gets another couple of cracks because I reckon he's got plenty to offer our man thickness. And
Let's keep churning through this, Mako, because we're
going long.
We go long.
He has to put the song on, doesn't he? He has to keep.
That's the
I love you, but whatever song that was you had didn't get the crowd going as much as it would if you just had Down with the Sickness.
What?
Come on, man.
It's easy. I'm not a marketing genius or
pop the joint.
The joint, even just shit metal. Like you see the crowd demographic, they love a shit metal.
All right, let's push through if you want to get going. Coco's got Bridget Jones's Diary.
I've said that twice.
With the Dale. Love that. Who
was next?
Let's just keep talking. Farjack. Our man, friend of the pod. Unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Bees John away from winning.
He fucking kicked the dude in the head and nearly had him out of there in that first round. We were up out of our seats.
Up. I don't even think we're allowed to be in that section, but we still do. We throw caution to the wind.
I hope no one's watching it, but we were breaking
the Jimmy Crew fight especially.
Oof. We broke many a rule in that fight.
You did that sexy, when you go in the water, like the Caribbean water, and you wrap legs. The girls wrap the legs around. That was with Jim's manager. We'll get to it. We were wrapping legs around.
A bit of leg wrapping.
Around Dom from Rival Sport.
He's a good fella, Dom.
Great fella.
Good fella.
I thought Dom had a big night the night before.
I like an Englishman.
Do you reckon?
I love an Englishman.
I reckon Dom. I thought Dom looked at times he'd had a big night. He looked tired.
Probably was a bit tired, big Dommer.
I reckon Dom had pushed the boat out.
Jack nearly had him out in the first round, up against a dangerous man, that Santos.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately dangerous without any star power, no name value.
Dangerous.
You sort of get beaten by this dude that no one knows who he is, but he'll be good. He copped, what he said, he copped a fucking elbow to the throat
he was
or something.
leaking fucking
crazy
valve.
Injury. Leaky valve after, had to get rushed back to hospital after they read the scans.
I stub my toe and have a leaky toe and I cry. Imagine having a leaky valve.
Oh, mate, the leaky valve can't help.
He did look flat, remember? At the end of one round, I said to you, he's not,
after the first round.
Couldn't breathe.
And then the second and third, he didn't look himself. And it's always easy to say in hindsight, he wouldn't want us to use it as an excuse.
No.
He won't use it as an excuse himself.
No, but he'll be fine.
But he had fucking shit leaking out in front of him. So, I reckon he did well to get through and almost make it to the end of the fight.
Probably says more about Santos not being able to finish a man with a...
He got out of a crazy fucking...
Oh, no, that was actually...
Whatever that was.
No, that thing was fucked. With a leaky valve.
That was fucked.
He had a leaky valve and he had some sort of choke happening. That was
brutal.
big.
Oh, it's tight. I want to pot them, actually, Coco. Today, every week, right, these commentators, any guillotine
We're
gets
doing
put
a second tank, are we?
Any guillotine comes in, it's just Daniel Cormier screaming, oh, it's tight.
Yeah.
And then literally within 2 seconds, the dude's just out.
Is it like the WWE? Do they have something in their ear?
Joe Rogan, oh, he's in trouble, it's
Do they
tight.
have someone in their ear from the back?
Must.
Telling them what to say?
It's nearly finished.
No,
and literally, without
That's a question,
maybe.
do they?
No, they probably don't, no. No one's telling Rogan what to say or Daniel Cormier.
But you wouldn't think no one was telling Jim Ross and his people.
Vince McMahon runs the show.
No, I know.
Dana White's not sitting back going, tell him it's tight.
Yeah, okay.
No. But today it was actually quite humorous because the one time it was that John Gooden bloke goes, this dude had him, I think
Just got re-signed, by the way.
I think it was Bonfim.
Yeah, it was.
Had him in some sicko choke and the guy's like, oh, unfortunately, I just don't think it's tight enough. 2 seconds later, a completely
that was when the guy was gasping like a
unconscious
fish.
body with
You
eyeballs.
put a
just-
fish on the
Yeah,
ground and
yeah,
they
it's him.
freak. That's what that guy was
So it was
doing.
actually quite humorous. I don't think it's tight enough, unfortunately. And then just pure death on the canvas seconds later. So it's like, well, they're like us. They don't know what the fuck's going on out there.
And they got a front cage seat.
I just wanted to put that in.
Okay.
I nearly tanked him, but I had the steak stuff.
You've just, for a guy that doesn't like the tank and says it's too much pressure, he's just done 2 tanks inside of 4 minutes. But anyway.
Push through to the main card. Shout out Farjak. We love him. We'll get him back in here.
Oh, I hope so.
He loves this. We love
He had a
him.
win, I think, with his horse today.
Giddy up.
Straight back to the track.
He doesn't give up.
Loves the track.
Well, he's living the life, mate. He's living his dream, so he's happy. We're happy.
He actually said, don't feel sorry for me. I'm living my dream.
I love that mentality.
Yeah,
I love
it's
it.
great.
I love it a lot.
And he'll be back. He's fine. Fine.
He's fucking
Main
fine.
card me.
Main card, Jake Matthews, Celtic kid. Celtic.
Is it Celtic or Celtic? We never know.
I think it's Celtic with him.
Spelt
Celtic sounds way
It's
better.
pronounced Celtic. Is it like chomping and champing? Matthew, is it chomping? Champing.
It's champing at the bit.
Spelt chomping, pronounced champing.
I don't know, mate.
I'm just doing curb here.
Yeah, I know. But is it champing or chomping? Because it's spelt chomping.
I think we're just literally doing Larry and Elaine right now. I think it's spelt chomping.
It is spelt chomping.
Champing.
CHOMPING.
That's chomping, but then there is champing. Are we off?
It could be Americans versus Australians as well, though. Because we do say, but we say things how they're spelt.
Well, we're pretty good down here, aren't we? They're a bit dumb.
Like they make fun of us, but we actually just say it how it's
We just
spelt.
say things how they're spelled. Celtic kid.
Celtic kid.
Jake Matthews looked good.
Yeah, he did.
Didn't get the finish like he wanted to and said on
That's
our pod
okay.
that he wants finish, but they don't always come.
No.
Just put on 3 rounds of just being better than the bloke. He was better than Prado. He showed it. Striking was on point. Just looked good.
Prado had some moments too, though.
Prado,
So it's good on
it
him.
wasn't an easy beat.
Toyota?
Prado.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jake Matthews looked good. He's already in our ear. He's coming back in. We're gonna do a live break.
That might be the next. Maybe
I
after
reckon we
the.
get him in after the Pereira, and we'll come in here and we'll break some fucking.
We're going to break.
Because he's got a new company starting.
That's
It's called
right.
something memorabilia.
And I'll give a shout out. We give a lot of shout outs, but this. What's his mate's name again? I always forget his mate. He's the happiest, most lovely.
Danny.
Danny.
Yep.
We saw him. He's just every time you come into
He's a
someone's.
gorgeous man.
He's always happy. That guy. Like I feel like that guy could have a career of being in an office building, an office
Morale
situation.
booster.
Oh, mate.
Chief morale officer.
Yeah, when someone's just been fucking lost a deal, you just will this guy because he's so happy.
Oh, he's a gorgeous
Remember how
man.
excited he was? He was drinking cans that early. He's like, I'm up and about, boys.
Oh,
and
and
we're
he
like,
was at the live show. Just
Yeah.
love him, mate.
yeah,
He's chief morale officer.
yeah,
Any event
CMO,
we do, we need him at the front.
Chief Morale Officer. I like it, mate.
And
Good
that's,
shuck.
Jake surrounds himself with good people.
But shout out to him and his new company that they're doing, and we'll get him in here and we'll do a live break.
Try and get Jim down for that too. We can have all the boys in here and we can all break
boy,
cards.
break.
That'd be good.
Great.
Speaking of Jim,
Yep.
next fight up.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yep.
Unbelievable. I don't even know where to go with, how to do it, what to talk
I'll tell you
about.
what,
I'm flat on the decision.
Yep,
Pissed me the fuck right off.
it did.
Flattened us out in the crowd. We actually
Sick of
didn't.
these Aussie cards. We've never actually had a moment
Judges just fuck us.
from the last 4. We've never left up. Like,
They fucked us with Volk.
they
They fucked us with Coolabau. They fucked us with
fucked us
Jim.
when Izzy lost to
Fucked
Strickland.
us with Izzy. Oh, they robbed Izzy on that fight. It's just fucked.
I mean, morale-wise.
They sap
The
our
event,
morale.
they
yeah.
sap it. The UFC it loves to sap.
Outside Coolabau
Yeah.
choking out that Melsick fuckwit,
Yeah.
that's probably the highest point I've ever had.
No, I think we saw Malarkey have a good result.
Malarkey's had good results, but
Yeah.
never like a really just out of your seat freak
No.
pop. We had Volk that we thought won, and then the judges
not
just
thought he did
he
win.
won that 2-3-5.
Fuck me.
2-3-5. But yeah, you're right. So Jim's that decision flatline. What should have been
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful story, should have been Jim's moment. I know he says like, "Oh, it's not about the result; it's about all the other stuff." But
About the result.
mate, he deserved to get the win.
He
He
deserved
deserved
that
his
result.
hand raised. He
did.
deserved to get a fucking interview in the ring. Deserved to go in the press conference afterwards.
Yep.
All the stuff, and didn't get
All
any
the
of it,
things,
mate.
they
Just didn't
say.
get any of it.
But he'll be back.
He's already coming back.
Showed some good like stand up too.
Yeah,
That
it
was
was good.
that right that he hit him with that put him on the fucking the skates.
Oh,
that was
beautiful,
like the IQ to go around the guard too.
He coming around.
So
and-
he's shown some
I think it was his best performance I've seen probably since his early like when he just burst
best
onto the
performance
scene.
since he had the bung leg against Anthony Smith, where you go, hey, this guy's a cyborg.
Yeah,
He's fighting him with one leg.
he looked good. I reckon he made some changes, as you said.
Yep.
I think he would be happy with how he fought.
Yep.
I think Sammy Greco would be happy with it.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame he didn't get the win, but I love Jim. Love what he did out there, and yeah, can't wait to see him back.
The guy he fought was a fucking tank too.
That's the problem, isn't it?
Just feed him someone. Just give him his confidence
Someone
up.
with a shit jaw. Like, he just ate punches, that guy,
Yeah,
and didn't go
oh,
away. It's not fair, really.
No, it's not fair. Some of these to low card guys are actually harder,
At
I believe.
205, there's
I've
just-
got a theory that some of them are harder than the ones at the top.
You've just got granite heads.
Remember when we used to play all those video games and we'd struggle to get through some of the early ones, and then once you're through, we just dominate.
Yeah, you get through.
Some of the fucking lower guys are hard, Bing.
Because they're not battle tested yet. Their chins are intact.
That's
You
true.
know what I mean? Like, he just ate.
Yeah.
And
Anyway.
Jim, like, they both sort of gassed out of it because it was such a frenetic fight.
It was frenetic.
So,
Jim won that fight, though.
I think Jim won. I think everyone thinks Jim won it. It's not just us being biased.
10-8 in round 2. So he
I
wins.
thought he won round 2, but
What do you think, Coco?
oh, fuck off, Coco.
I thought he 10-8 the, what is it? Yeah, the first
Round
round.
1, 10-8.
You were
round.
happy with the draw.
And then that, he didn't win the
You
next
reckon he
two.
lost round 2, do you?
I reckon it's a draw.
Interesting.
Oh, well, that's honesty, though.
We're going to start Googling.
First
other podcast
round
studios.
was first round was like
Collingwood.
49 strikes to 2.
Oh, it should have been a 10-7, to be honest. Can we get a 10-7 going? Pissed me off. That's pissed me off. Everything's pissed me off here. Jim, we love you. You won that.
Happened against Alonzo Menefield, too. He got Alonzo's back early. They're so slippery, these guys.
Yeah, he's been so close.
So, like, that could have been, it's just,
But it was gorgeous. It was an emotional experience to me in the stands. We had Dom, the rival boys, with us. We were all just in it as we were together in
We
this
were.
fucking. It was very. It was.
And from there, the
cathartic,
card for me went very downhill.
We won't talk about it, to be honest. The card fell apart. Justin Taffer, we love you, friend of the pod. Love that. Went to the Tafter party afterwards.
Tafter party.
Beautiful, beautiful boys. But he got his face rearranged.
Can
by
I ask a question about that? Because
Yes.
people were like, oh, he turtled up. And
Nah.
then he was like complaining about the decision. I thought he copped a low blow. And then
Okay.
he goes to stop and then gets elbowed in the face. And then he's like turtles up to be like, oh, and then he thought he was stopping it because of the low blow.
Interesting. Here we go. New narrative.
I like the narrative.
We weren't able to see that because we were angry and like we're walking through the stadium at that point.
Yeah.
Actually,
right.
I looked it
Slice that
up.
in.
I looked it up after to see if anyone was
I'll rewatch
on the
that.
on the
That could
same
be a
path.
good little reel, little social reel,
Interesting.
'cause we can put that out there. Was it a low blow?
Yeah, rematch.
Because I just saw it was a 6 or 7 Brazilian with man boobs that fucking no one gave a.
I just
No
thought
one-
he got his fucking skull caved in. And for a giant man
I
like
loved
Justin Taffer.
how bad that guy's body was makes me feel good that he could just walk through
Oh.
a Taffer. Because fuck, mate, he looked shocking on the eye test. That
yeah,
guy.
I know. All right, so it was a low blow then.
You dirty
Yeah,
prick.
100%.
Robbed.
Dirty bastard.
Justice for Taffer.
Justice for Taffer. The Taffer party was fantastic, though.
Shout him out. Our man Junior, he's a good fella. He's a good fella. He might, he's got a big fight coming up.
Hated you.
No, he doesn't hate me. He loves
He
me.
did off air. I'll tell Coco what you did. That was
No, he
that
loves
was
me.
astonishing.
No, he's got a huge fight potentially coming up.
astonishing, Coco. You'll love it. He loved me because I
didn't say
I
anything,
played the straight bat because you've got to be smarter than that, mate.
Friends of the pod, Matthew.
Well, he's a friend of the pod. He's multiple.
He is.
And been on radio. He came on fucking radio 8 a.m. Sunday.
He did.
And that's 7 a.m. Brisbane time, if I'm not correct. Is
It
it
might
not?
not have been daylights at the time, but it probably was because it was
Brisbane don't do
February.
it. Brisbane's always an hour
Yeah,
back.
but sometimes we go back, so it could have been. Probably was daylight.
Just
though.
for this, though, I'm going to say he got on at 7 a.m.
Nah, I love Junior.
And you
What did I do?
not saying it on air because it'll break the trust, but I'll say it to Coco off air and he'll be like, geez, you got some plums.
Well, I do have plums.
Plummy.
I got big plums.
He's a good man. He loves us. He's always happy. Talk about morale booster.
He's a morale
He's just one of the great
He
morale
does a lot of
boosters.
this
Does his
sort of
little
work.
dancing.
Love him.
Taffer's. And even Taffer showing up to his own after party after having.
Mate, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but that shows character, though.
Does show character.
So anyway, and then the co-main, no one gave.
Oh, great fight though. Let's just shout it out.
Yeah.
Weili Zhang Weili. I'm not sure which way you're supposed to say it. To be
Well,
honest.
Nick Cody went the other way on the live pod, which has thrown us.
He went Zhang. I don't know what he
When
actually
did
said, but mate, she put on a clinic
Yeah,
and actually should get more around her because I've realised
Yeah,
that Frankie Hickman's her boy.
yeah, we should.
Our man Frankie Hickman's
No,
a
we
wrestling
should've.
coach. He's all up and about. So
See her pay packet.
I'm.
Fuck, they
Yeah,
got
but I
it
don't reckon. I don't
You
know if
reckon
that
that's
pay
real?
packet's real. Because what she get like fucking 3 million or something.
2.5.
I don't know where those figures come from.
Okay.
None of these figures that get bandied around social media
I like it. They
are ever
reward, I
real.
hope they reward though. I hope you don't know, and they give you more if you do something like that. Where she just came out
They
and
were
won,
so out of whack though.
but she just came out and dominated five rounds as a rank outsider.
Oh, yeah, terrific performance by Weili. I reckon that silenced all these weird doubters. Her wrestling was supposed to be Khabib level.
Yeah.
Suarez and mate couldn't fire a shot. Weili was ended up doing all the wrestling.
Signs were there, and we didn't pick up on them.
Were they?
Yep.
We're not great at picking up signs.
Suarez is a team Strickland. They're all hot air.
Yeah, they are hot air.
That whole team's hot air, mate. I'm telling you,
Hot air.
hot air. All of them.
We'll just We'll go to the main.
Yeah, but hot air. We should have known.
All hot air.
Fighting against a killer, like a killer whose life is fighting. That Zhang.
Mhm.
Like, and the camps you put in, we were watching, we're so silly to not have picked up on those odds and actually gone with it. Against a woman that's had a fantastic effort to be even in a title fight. The health.
Yeah.
The knees, the
People
cancer.
get sucked in
And
by wrestling, I reckon.
just because she's a bigger lady that can wrestle. Like, as if,
that's all it was.
But she got out-wrestled.
She got out-wrestled, mate.
Fuck
People
it.
sleeping on Waylene. You look stupid now afterwards, people sleeping on a woman of that talent.
I'm actually embarrassed for myself.
Frankie Hickman, we should have known.
Should have known.
You're not going to beat a Frankie Hickman.
He had Volk out-wrestle Islam.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, Volk
yeah.
out-wrestled him.
That's because of
Go
Frank
back
Hickman.
to that and watch it. He couldn't wrestle him.
Hey, boys.
He just
That's
got
me.
on his back and held
Who
him
am
for
I?
one round. That was it.
Hey, boys. That's Frank Hickman.
Hey, boys.
Hey,
He's got
boys.
that more of that croak. You used to be able to do
I
it
could
really
get it
well.
up, but it's too hard. But hey, boys. He just has this.
got
It's
that-
fucking sexy.
Yeah, he's.
Got that twang, that American country twang. But
You
with
like
a bit of
Hickman.
I don't mind a bit of Hickman.
You like a bit of salt and gravel in the pipes.
Hey, boys.
It gets you going, does it?
Gets me
Glass
going.
of
Whenever I
whiskey.
get a hey, boys memo, I start getting
Yeah.
up and about, mate.
Okay.
Frank Hickman.
Okay.
Mm.
Main event, no good.
Oh, it was a flat fight.
It's the last you'll see of Strickland and his coach
Oh, I
too.
hope so. Yeah,
No,
fuck,
no.
he's-
Do you know what? I
Nick's
like,
sick.
but I like both of them for what they did. Nick's like,
I like Nick.
he just wants to be a prize fighter. I'm not interested. I fight and
Yeah, let me
train
know.
champions. But then Strickland's like, well, he's that. Fuck him. He wants to be an influencer.
It was interesting that
I
he
thought-
did say it publicly on
Yeah,
Ariel's show.
I thought it was a bit
as
strange.
publicly as he
Yeah,
did
I
to
thought
put
that-
his fighter under the bus.
I thought that was. a
But
bit-
maybe there's stuff going on behind. Maybe
he
he
couldn't agree with everything he says,
maybe
bro.
he hates Sean Strickland.
I think he would. Just he's taken him to title fights. It's one of those things you don't like everyone you work with.
No,
So
many
he's
of them
probably
at
just
all.
had enough of him because he's like, you're never going to win the belt
How
again.
many times he'd just be like, up Sean?
Yeah, that's what he'd be doing. So
Dickhead.
that was his time to dump him at the peak to make. It was like a power play, right? Because it's like, whoa, he just fought for a title and he's just shat on him. But I think he knows he's not getting a third crack at the belt.
Not for a long time.
Be like 2 years minimum.
But it's true though. There's a lot of there's a lot of suck off merchants that love Strickland because of the dog shit that he says.
None of it he's got
It's
anything
all hot
behind
air.
it.
But then there's actual people that can actually be like, well, the cunt is all hot air. He doesn't do anything except the iCarly for 5 rounds. No matter what situations he's in,
Yeah.
he doesn't change.
I just don't know
Fifth
how
round.
anyone doesn't take him down and actually make him look stupid. That's what annoys me.
Probably.
But I will also say, if you're going to pot him, you can't really pot him because his only actual losses in the last 5 years are against Pereira and DDP.
Yeah, look, he wins. Whatever he does is effective.
It's weird. Like
But
we're all shitting on him like hot air, but he still wins fights. It's
Not
like
entertaining. And
Ross Lyon. He's like the Ross Lyon of fighters.
I just don't like
He,
his.
he has a game plan that wins more often than not.
But Ross Lyon doesn't come out and say, we're playing the most exciting football in the comp. We're coming out there, going to run and gun everyone out there. We're going to blow them off the field. He doesn't say that.
He has a similar off-field vibe about him, Ross Lyon. They gets into some of the precarious
He
positions.
can do. But yes, I don't.
You want to
I'm
ask
happy
one of the-
DDP won.
allegedly ask one of the staffers there. But anyway,
Can't start bringing up Ross Lyon dirt, mate.
he's got a bit of Sean Strickland about him, I reckon. I don't give a fuck. I'm bigger than anyone.
I'm glad he lost. I'm glad
Yeah.
DDP won. And I'm glad it's DDP comes up. That's the fight.
I'm glad Ross Lyon's never won a premiership as a coach.
Ross Lyon stinks.
I told you that story when we were in the CUB offices in COVID because we normally used to go to cricket day 3 and Ross Lyon was there. And there was a guy. The guy went up to him and went, Gary, can I have a photo? Legitimately thinking it was Gary Lyon.
Oh.
And he went,
But that look.
he goes, you can. I don't have sex with my best mate's wife.
Oof.
It's that quick. He's that quick, the way he said it. And the guy was like,
Whoops.
and Dad's like, yeah, that's not Gary, mate. That's
Gary Lyon.
Ross.
Dickhead.
Fucking idiot. But how quick was he to throw
Good.
Gary under the bus?
Good one.
Yeah, anyway. Mako Shark. Let's do a dabble. Let's actually today, should we do a little, what do you want to
We've
do
got to
here?
hurry up. Cocko's got to go see Bridget Jones's diary, as we've already
Let's do
discussed.
it.
But
Let's do
nah,
it.
today was all right, whatever. Cannoneer bit down on the
Cannoneer cheese.
mouthpiece and getting bashed by violent Obama early. Robocop.
Is that, it's not racist to say.
No,
he has
he is the
resemblance.
violent
How do
Obama.
you, Cocker, how do you word that in a nice way?
No
That there's
idea.
resemblances.
That's what it is. What are you talking about? Very good likeness. He looks like Barack Obama, but massive. What else are you supposed
I
to
don't know. It just feels yuck.
Doesn't feel yuck. It
Is
feels
it someone's going to
delightful.
come at you with that?
No.
Let's
He got,
let-
he was bashing Cannoneer
Oh, yeah.
early doors.
Dropped in 3 times in the first round.
Yeah, but
But gassed. All big
gassed
puffy,
himself.
big puffo.
doesn't have the cardio like Barack.
Nah.
So he dropped and got bashed in the 4th round. I think stopped
Yep.
Cannoneer, 41 years of age.
If I knew any of those things that Barack's actually The man or the
No, you can't. No. Big Mike, they're calling it.
Yeah.
Big Mike.
Do you buy into any of that?
No,
Because
no,
you're a
I'm
conspiracy
a conspiracy
theorist.
guy, but
You just think that's rude.
Twitter and COVID and all that is
Yeah.
just real. I've realised just how many just dog shit people out there
Okay.
making up stuff constantly.
Good.
It's ridiculous.
Big Mike.
Big Mike.
Call you Big Mike.
Although there is pictures of her, looks like she's got a hog on her, but I think it's like angles. I think it's the pattern in the pants.
Could just be large flaps.
Never been said before.
Oh, it just could be.
Could be. No.
Larry David said it.
Huge vagina. Me from now on. They get away with murder, these large vagina ladies, they reckon.
Mate, they do.
Tell you what.
Yeah, there's a lot of blokes that have really fell to them.
Well, you
The,
can
gossip,
get...
the WhatsApp gossip chats after a poor old bloke's gone into that. How was he? Yeah, he was good looking, little Willie, the poor guy. But he might not have had a little Willie Mako. Could have just been like throwing down a fucking
Get a Mickey
bowling.
Mantle
Yeah.
baseball up there. Tell you what. Fuck them.
Win me some money. We're due to win money.
Oh, okay. Brought to you by Dabble.
Yeah.
Australia's greatest punting agency. Please do so responsibly. Matthew,
Must do responsibly.
we're going to whip through this quickly because it's
Whip
another fight. I think it's Cejudo, isn't it?
Yes.
Henry Cejudo
Yes.
is
Against
fighting this
Song
week.
Yadong.
Lover, you don't treat me no good no more. Song Yadada.
Best.
Fantastic.
Start
Pipe
at the
that
top,
in.
work down.
Pipe that in. Song Yadada.
Song Yadada.
You don't treat me no good no more.
Odds are stacked in front of our man because we're big Song Yadong man. We love him.
We like Songy.
Yeah.
He's red hot favourite, $1.40.
It's dangerous favourite.
Cejudo, I think's washed.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we're happy to go with Yadong.
Yeah, the size of his actual head versus his body gets more creepier as the years go on.
That big fucking...
But the big
I
cranium.
don't like him. I think he's a bit shit. So I think we song our
Yadong
Dong
in.
right off.
Yep.
This is all happening off the cuff here. I haven't done any research.
Okay, sometimes the best stuff is done
Oh,
like
it's our
that.
boy. Fluffy with the big tunnels, the cheesy tunnels.
Oh,
The big
cheese boys.
cheese-smelling tunnels. We love him.
Big tunnels.
Up against Brendan Allen, who I don't really think's that good a bloke, to be honest, Brendan Allen. I think he's a bit of a stinker.
Yeah, I think he's a bit of a stinker, but I think $3.10 is not fair.
Nah, Hernandez gets him
Okay.
better.
Yep.
He's got that. He's got that wrestling.
But you punch and your hand goes through your actual ear.
Yeah,
so
you get your finger caught in it. Next fight up after that,
Yeah.
Jean Silva up against Melsik. We hate Melsik.
Oh, we don't
Enemy of the pod. We hate the Bagdasarians, although we don't mind a Bagdasarian now on the town between you and
I'm
me.
going to say, seeing some of the Sydney action from the men would have
Melsiks.
suggested there was a couple of Melsiks getting around.
Yeah,
but
Melsik's in that booth there, Coco.
he's needing one to perk up.
No, but having said that,
Yeah.
Jean Silva, he's a fighting nerd, Matthew.
Oh, well.
Bad fucking
yeah,
man. Bad mama
They
jamma.
don't lose.
They don't
bad.
fucking
Did you
lose
just
fighting
call him a mama jama?
Yep.
That's good from you.
Bad mama jamma. So he won't lose.
No,
$1.24. It's still decent value. Get him in.
I've got that in.
Barbosa Garcia. Oh, this is that Steve Garcia who
Stephen.
he doesn't sound like he'd be that exciting, but Steve Garcia's been running through blokes.
Steve Garcia sounds like a C-grade, fourth line NHL hockey player.
Comes off the left wing.
And I go, oh, Steve Garcia scored 2. And you're like, I don't give a fuck about Steve
Fucking
Garcia.
He gets traded a few times.
Correct. Comes a journeyman.
He's been fucking blokes up.
Put him in.
Put him in. He knocked, even though Barbosa's a legend, he's getting
Barbosa's.
to the end of his tether and that.
Could be,
He's had
could be a long in the tooth card, this.
Put your money on this to go one round. He's been knocking blokes out in the first round, guys. He's a
Do it.
sick unit. So that's a good fight. The next one's up. I'm not going to talk about too much. Ricky Simon used to have that fucking sick mullet, but he's got rid of that and lost his energy. I think a Basharat wins. Put him in for mine.
Once you cut the tail, it takes out the...
Yeah.
What about Ian?
Yeah, you want to go with that one? Kutilaba?
I think Ian wins.
Versus Ibo.
Ian wins.
You reckon?
Yeah, he's due.
Put him in. It's your multi at this time.
No, it's not.
Get him in.
I'll just go for a bit of value.
And then Bukowskis up against someone I have not ever heard of. So that's good podcasting.
So Mako Shark, $250 on that
Responsibly.
at $14
Yep.
is getting you $3,500.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Put that on. Thanks to Dabble. We love you. Responsibly. A quick one before we leave.
Yeah.
Our man, Volk. He's in camp.
Camp.
I'm excited.
Tell the listeners out there, we're putting together a bit of a Kentucky trip, aren't we?
Trying to.
Coco's coming.
We're trying. Because I'm hearing.
Actually, maybe Coco can't come anymore because he's under the thumb.
He might not be able to get away.
Maybe won't want him going.
You'll have to go watch
Miami
the.
clubs clapping.
I was going to try the Notebook or something.
Bridget Jones.
Love Actually.
Yeah, but we're trying to put together a bit of a Volk trip.
Wow. They haven't
First-
been announced, but we're hearing off the fucking.
No, he's in fight
People
camp.
know that he's fighting in
He's
Miami.
going
I
to
think.
Thailand. He's got
Miami.
He's going to Thailand. He's in
I'm
Thailand
just
doing
saying
it.
it hasn't been announced. We
Yeah.
don't know yet.
We know.
We don't. No one knows, but we know that he's probably fighting in Miami April 12th.
Yeah, well, he's fighting soonish.
8 weeks to the day.
Yeah. What's the event sort of after that? It's jam-packed, isn't it?
What do you mean?
After Miami. So there's no chances on that one. Because I think they've already announced.
It's been announced. No,
it's a nice one already.
No, the one after.
Yeah.
What's that?
I could be
3:15.
Yeah, they're not.
No, I don't think
Okay. Don't worry about me. Sometimes I thought they'd.
You're thinking before with Pereira.
Yes.
Booker and that.
Yes. Yes.
8 weeks. Volk. We don't know who he's fighting. Topuria or Fringe Benefits? Diego Lopes.
Yeah,
I
cunt.
don't know who it's going to be. I'm starting to hear things probably going to be Diego maybe. And we're going to get
Both
Topuria
dangerous
going
fights.
up, mate. Topuria wants to fucking vacate. So
Geez, be good though if when he wins and then you've just got the strap then.
look, we want Volk to get that one back in a rematch, but we also want him to like maybe just win the title.
If he wins it again, then he'll get that one back.
Exactly. So him versus Diego's a mouth-watering fight.
I think so.
I'd love to be there.
Question for you: when he wins it, who does he fight if Topuria's gone up though? That's the next question. There's back to no one.
Topuria's gone. Who does he fight if he wins the belt?
Does he then win that belt and then Topuria wins and then he goes up and tries to fight Topuria at the next weight up?
Fuck, that'd be sick. 155.
That's mate.
Imagine he beats Islam and then he's the champ and there's champ. That's a good one.
I've just booked something that's just sexy.
We're crankers after thinking about that.
I
That's big.
would lose my job because I'd just be cranking.
So we're going to try and get there. What were
We
you going
are.
to say? You want a Kentucky to? You want sponsors to just start giving us money?
No,
or
well, we've
something?
got some people behind us that are going to look after us, but I want other people maybe to get involved and come along
We're
and
gonna
really
go.
have like a fucking.
If boys want to start coming over in Dales, we'll all go to Miami and we'll get on the piss.
Because we should try and build like
A group, a contingent, a
not
Volk
too many though,
contingent.
because when he wins, we might have to leave you and go to the after party.
Yeah, fuck you all. We might get one of these
We'll
in.
have to go, well, this stops here.
Yeah.
We
Mate,
have
it'd be great. But, we're going.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anything
But
else?
Just can't wait for that fight. Anyway, Volk's and Cam, I was just excited.
No, I'm excited.
I'm excited.
And he looks great from the start too. He looks like he's
great.
really been
He looks
over
great,
Christmas
mate.
too. The man that likes food. He could have.
Looks great.
He looks fantastic. He looks in a good way.
Yep.
So I think whoever he fights, they're fucked.
Oh, they're fucked.
And
We'll get him on, I reckon.
go
We'll
down
get him on
and
before it too.
Oh no, we will.
Get him on before that.
Anything else? Boxing? Nothing else.
Nah, nothing to talk about. Coco wants to start editing, so we'll probably wrap it up. It's probably enough.
I'm
Great
happy with it.
Chat.
Great to be back.
Fook 10.
I love being in here. The big lights on us.
Fook 10, Matthew.
Fook 10. Get around,
10%
Izzy.
off.
Actually, good to see. Can I just say, good to see Izzy there
Him and
in
Pereira.
Sydney and Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame fight
With
against
Kelvin.
Kelvin. Great.
I love that the crowd cheered him because I didn't really want to get up and even because I didn't want to bring a negative up on his moment, but I would have loved to have had the ability to ask him how he actually really does feel about when he was getting booed against
Yeah,
Strickland
I know.
because he has carried the sport.
Yep.
Him and Volk, him especially. Like he was fighting anytime, anywhere, right?
Doesn't get enough
And then just
respect.
get some dick American coming in and they're booing him over him. So at least they cheered him, got a real big pop. So that must have made him
Yeah,
feel good.
I think
And
so.
he's going around just like burying
It's
the
just
hatchet with people.
Beautiful
I like
energy.
it.
It's a redemption tour where they're all just mates
Yeah.
now. I love it. I actually love to see it.
Do we think that that's a sign that he's almost done, though, isn't it? When you start really burying hatchets.
I think he's just
not done, but like almost he's had enough. Because he's not
Life's
carrying
too
hate.
short to be
He's not
carrying.
carrying like that. I want to hate. I want to kill everyone.
It's competitive
It's just
rivalry,
lovely to
but
see, though, someone that's achieved what he's done and had some of these really heated to just be able to actually,
no, it's beautiful. It's charmer, Matthew.
Yeah, so you want this shirt? It's there. Engaged. The greatest apparel.
Yep.
Book 10.
Book 10.
Great code. Get you 10% off.
Book 10. The best in the biz. That's about it from us, I reckon.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Cheers me.
Here's in a sip.
Cheers in a sip.
Or do you root me?